What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Now before we get started with this week's very interesting episode of WWE's Biggest Issue, the road to 200 subs has now come to a close, and we are now 194 subs away from hitting 500 subs. Guys, we are getting so close to 500. Hopefully we can get to 500 by the end of the year. Only time will tell. But as I have said in previous videos, if you guys are new to the channel, and I know that a lot of you guys are, because practically 100% of you guys are watching the content, but you guys are not even subscribed. So if you guys are watching the content, you like the content, and you want more of the content, but you guys have not subscribed as of yet, then make sure you guys do indeed subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button on this video, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. If you guys want to send me fan mail, want me to open it up here on the channel, all the info will be in the description as well. And I want you guys to post in the comments below answering the question of the day, which is this: what were your guys' thoughts on WrestleMania weekend, and do you believe that the build up to both nights of WrestleMania, do you believe that the build up was good, or do you believe it was bland? And why? Let me know down in the comments below. And for this week's episode of WWE's Biggest Issue, it is all about the fallout from WrestleMania and NXT Stand and Deliver. Guys, what a weekend. This whole weekend has been absolutely wild, to say the very least. In my honest opinion, in my honest opinion, with each of the matches that were on the card, not only for Stand and Deliver, but also for WrestleMania, I feel like a lot of the matches that were on the card were a bit, I don't want to say bland, but I don't want to say, I really don't want to say that it was not bland either. So you look at the card for Stand and Deliver. Anytime NXT shows up and does a PLE, they always stand out. They always stand out, and they always put on an incredible show. And Stand and Deliver this year was no exception whatsoever. I mean, think about this, right? Sol Ruca becomes a double champion in NXT. The only woman in NXT to hold both the NXT Women's North American Champion title and the WWE Women's Speed title as well, which, congrats to Sol. I think, looking back on that match, right, it's absolutely wild that Sol Ruca had been in WWE for about, like, what, a year? For like, what, a year and a half, like, almost like 2 years, and has had so many incredible matches, so many incredible moments, but this was the biggest moment for her, and she 100% deserved it. Like, I honestly do believe that Zarya definitely had a chance, but given the fact that she's only been in WWE for a short while, Sol Ruca winning was definitely the right move. But at this point, it could have been anybody, right? Like, the way that the match was built, right? Having the qualifying matches, you know, was excuse me, was a smart decision, but they should have done it. They should have done it about a month in advance instead of 2 weeks in advance. But even with that, I feel like this was definitely a moment that Sol Ruka definitely needed. But and then as far as the triple threat match for the NXT title, this was huge because you basically had the clear case of the past, the present, and the future. The past, obviously, being Trick Williams. Not trying to diss him or anything, but still. The present, obviously, being Obafemi, and the future. Excuse me. None other than the young OG Javon Evans. Evans has been in NXT for about a year, and this was a huge ordeal for him because this was his very first stand and deliver, whereas opposed to Obafemi, this was his second. And Trick, I believe this was his third, if my memory serves right. Either his third or fourth. I want to say his fourth. If my memory serves right, I believe that this was actually his fourth stand and deliver. I think it was because when you really think about it, Trick Williams has been was always going to be the guy to try to to be the guy. He was the next guy, and he was for a very long while. But now that Obafemi is champion and he retained his title this past Saturday at Stand and Deliver, one has to ask, what's next for Trick? Is it time for him to be on the main roster? I think yes. I think because of how much he had contributed to NXT over the last few years or so, I think it's time for him to be on the main roster. And it's the same thing with the NXT women's division, right? There have been more women competed at Stand and Deliver than men. In fact, I believe I said there was 3, 5, 7. There were actually 15 men and 18 women. Think about that. 3 less than the women, which is incredible. This proves, again, I said it the other day, that this was the reason why the women's division is the best women's division for WWE in the entire world. Like, you look at WWE, right? You look at all 4 shows: Raw, SmackDown, Evolve, and NXT. You've got women like Becky Lynch. You've got women like Lyra Valkyria, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, Asuka, Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton, Meat Chin, B-Fab, who else? Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Alba Fire, Nia Jax, Candice LeRae, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia, Sol Ruka, Jada Parker, oh my god, what, Kendall Gray. Who else can I think of? Just the amount of talent that's on all 4 brands is proof that the women's division in WWE is better than it's ever been before. And I think Stephanie Vaquer has proven that she is going to be probably one of, if not the most dominant NXT Women's Champion of all time. I would probably say even more dominant than Shayna Baszler, and that's saying a lot considering that Shayna Baszler had a very lengthy reign as champion. Hank and Tank winning the NXT tag team titles, very well deserved. I think given the fact that Fraxium had been together for about a year and a half now, is proof that these guys are ready for the main roster. Their time's up. I think their time is definitely up. It's time for them to be on the main roster. Ricky Saints, man, hell of a performance. Cannot go wrong with that. Dark State, very dominant win over the D'Angelo family at the cost of Stacks turning his back on Luca, Rizzo, and of course the Dawn. And then the countdown show had the Fatal 4-Way, which we now know that tomorrow night on NXT will be Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria versus Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan, which is going to be very interesting considering the fact that Tatum and Lyra are very good friends. So it's going to be interesting. But as far as like what we can expect from the fallout from Stand and Deliver, honestly, I can honestly say that Julia is definitely going to want to go ahead and get her one-on-one rematch for the NXT Women's title. We know that Ethan Page is gonna try something. Javon Evans is probably gonna want yet another opportunity at the NXT title. All I can say is that the fallout is gonna be very interesting, and who knows? I mean, there might be a new debut. There might be a returning superstar. When it comes to the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT after WrestleMania, the possibilities are definitely out there. But I will say that this Stand and Deliver, in my opinion, I feel like was a bit more bland than last year, because last year we had a huge main event. Trick Williams, and Carmelo Hayes. We had Ilya Dragunov defending the NXT title against Tony D'Angelo, which was an incredible match. Completely on its own. Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria just literally had stole the whole show. I think out of all 7 matches that were on the card, I think the one match that stole the show, my opinion, definitely had to have been the NXT Tag Team title match between Fraxium and Hank and Tank. I think solely just because of the fact that you had two teams with two totally different styles of wrestling, and Fraxium, their style just wasn't good enough, crazy enough, if you can believe it. But we got to look at the fallout from WrestleMania, man. I mean, think about this, right? Jey Uso finally becomes world heavyweight champion. New Day finally become tag team champions for the first time in a few years. Jacob Fatu becoming the new United States champion. El Grande Americano getting his WrestleMania moment, which is kind of bizarre, especially against Rey Fenix. Tiffany Stratton vanquishes the Queen to retain her women's title, and then the ultimate betrayal, right? The ultimate act of betrayal, as Michael Cole called it, Benedict Heyman. Think about that, right? Benedict Heyman. I never would have imagined that Paul Heyman would stoop low as to aligning himself with a guy like Seth Rollins, right? Like, Seth was always like the type of guy who he was always the type of guy to do what was right for WWE. And the main event for the main event for Saturday was that massive triple threat. And some people would believe that that the way it ended was controversial. I consider it cinema, because you had 3 guys who had their own different perspective on WWE. You had Roman Reigns, where if he won, he would inject himself back into the WWE title picture. If CM Punk won, that would mean that his beliefs on wrestling was going to come to fruition, and the fact that CM Punk got to main event WrestleMania was absolutely wild. And then you had Seth Rollins, who wanted to defeat both men simply because he wants to make WWE a better place. And I feel like with this victory, that could very may well be the case. But who knows? Maybe we'll get answers tonight on Raw. Maybe it could be next week. Who knows? But I will say I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next, what Paul Heyman has to say, what Seth Rollins has to say, what's CM Punk's take on the whole ordeal. And who knows? I think we're just gonna have to wait and see. And then of course last night, Io Sky, hell of a victory, definitely well deserved. The last couple years that she had been at WrestleMania did not go her way, but this was under triple threat rules. She is 4-0 in triple threat matches, which is incredible. Drew McIntyre picking up an amazing victory over Damian Priest. Dirty Dom getting a huge pop, which is very funny. Becoming Intercontinental Champion, and he even said it on the post show, which I'm actually paused. I actually had to pause the post show right now. He mentioned on the post show that he has two legacies on his back. He has the Mysterio legacy and then the Guerrero legacy, which in a way I kind of agree, but at the same time, this is Dirty Dom we're talking about. So who knows? And with him, anything can happen. There's no telling what Finn Balor is gonna do tonight on Raw. Anything can happen. Maybe we might see the end of the Judgment Day. Who knows? Joe Hendry debuting and getting his WrestleMania moment, debuting and having his big WrestleMania debut. You cannot complain when it comes to Joe Hendry, but Randy Orton did get his WrestleMania moment, so that was pretty cool. Logan Paul, hell of a victory over AJ Styles, who is a bona fide legend. Not gonna complain about that. Becky Lynch coming back after well over a year to team with Lyra Valkyria. Obviously, Bayley got attacked on Saturday, and Becky Lynch got her lick back against Liv Morgan after what happened last year in that steel cage match. And then of course the ultimate shock of the year, actually of the decade, John Cena going from number 16 to number 17 of world titles and holding more championships, more world titles than anyone else, in the industry. Honestly, I can honestly say that Cody Rhodes definitely needed a break because of the fact that last year's WrestleMania, he finished the story. He became champion, held the title for well over a year, 378 days. which which is an incredible run. I have to admit, such an incredible run, and he has only lost a small handful of matches throughout his whole career, ever since he came back at WrestleMania a few years ago. And it's weird because I never would have imagined that this day would come, right? I never would have imagined that John Cena would go from 16 to 17. Nobody expected it, but if it actually happened, and it came at the expense of Travis Scott, who showed up last night and helped John Cena become WWE champion, which now buys into the question, what's next? Well, we do know that John Cena will not be showing up to Raw tonight. We found out that he'll be on SmackDown this Friday, and I have a feeling that he's gonna have a lot to say. And I don't know. A part of me is thinking that Cody Rhodes might get a rematch at Backlash. But the problem is that that Cena isn't scheduled to be at Backlash. He is, however, scheduled to be a part of Saturday night's main event on the weekend of Battleground, which will be very interesting to say the very least. Or I believe that's the case. So it's going to be interesting because I honestly don't know if he's going to defend the title on Saturday night's main event, or if he's gonna just show up, cut a promo, and leave. No one knows. But I will say, I think The Rock definitely got what he wanted. He wanted Cody Rhodes to drop the title. That's exactly what he got. That's what he got. He got Cody to drop the title, even though he wasn't even in Vegas. He was in Hawaii. For some weird reason, he was in Hawaii. So the fact that Travis Scott showed up and cost Cody Rhodes the WWE title makes it has to make us think and make us ask ourselves, was this The Rock's doing, or was this John Cena's doing all on his own? No one knows. But I can honestly say that we are going to be expecting massive debuts, massive returns. We know that we are expecting a massive return on SmackDown this Friday. It could literally be anybody at this point. But as far as the fallout, now the question becomes this: with everything that's happened and with all the new champions that we have now, the question becomes this, right? With John Cena now as WWE champion, did The Rock ruin wrestling? Did John Cena ruin wrestling? Did they save WWE? Did they save wrestling? Honestly, no. I don't think that wrestling was saved by John Cena or The Rock. I think at this point, I feel like that it was saved by Seth Rollins. And the reason why I say that is because Seth was always the guy that was going to do what was best for WWE. Excuse me. Whether it was from a business standpoint or whether it was from a fan's perspective, he always did what was right for WWE. You look back at last year's WrestleMania. He teamed with Cody Rhodes to face off, to literally work with The Rock and Roman Reigns on night 1. Then on night 2, Seth Rollins sacrificed his reign as World Heavyweight Champion to help Cody Rhodes become WWE Champion, which proves that Seth Rollins had a massive interest in this whole ordeal. Now that Rollins has pinned Roman Reigns and defeated CM Punk, making sure that Punk didn't win at WrestleMania, where does Seth go from here? Does he go after the WWE title? Does he go after the world title? I feel like as if he saved WWE. He saved WWE as we know it, with the fact that Roman Reigns and CM Punk have lost at WrestleMania. And the fact that we could expect Seth Rollins tonight on Raw. Anything can happen. We don't know if this means he's a babyface. We don't know if he's a heel. I can honestly say that this was exactly what we were expecting. We knew that Paul Heyman had a lot of love and respect for both Punk and Reigns, but I never would have imagined that he would stoop this low to join up with Seth Rollins. Maybe this is all part of The Rock's ordeal, where we see Seth Rollins team with the Rock. Cena becomes the corporate champion. Maybe that's the case, right? Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what's bound to happen at some point. No one knows. But I will say that for the next couple months, at best, maybe even the next 5 months at best, leading to Money in the Bank, leading to SummerSlam, I can honestly say that we're definitely going to be talking about this for a long while. But would I consider this WrestleMania bland? No. As I know I know that some people might believe that this WrestleMania was bland in terms of how all the matches were built up. The only matches that I believe that were pretty bland, in my honest opinion, there's only two that come into mind. The one of them is obviously the New Day versus the War Raiders, and then Rey Fenix versus El Grande Americano. I think they were both pretty bland. I think just because of the fact that the New Day and the War Raiders, they had a huge match on Raw a few weeks back, and it got ruined by the New Day because they knew that they were going to lose, and they wanted to win on a big stage like WrestleMania. And the fact that they did proves that the New Day, they're not the same. They are not the same guys. And I don't know. I think the Street Profits should have taken that spot and defended their tag team titles against the Machine Guns at WrestleMania. But that's just my opinion. I don't know about you guys, but that's just my honest opinion. And then as far as El Grande Americano and Rey Fenix, I mean it's Chad Gable's one-on-one WrestleMania debut. This was Rey Fenix's debut at WrestleMania. Phoenix had only been with WWE for a couple weeks. I mean, it was just kind of bland. It was just very, very bland. And the way the match ended was just very stupid. So as far as like what to expect, it's the fallout from WrestleMania. Anything can happen. There's no telling what Cody is gonna say in the coming weeks. I don't know if he's gonna show up tonight on Raw, if he'll show up on SmackDown. The possibilities are out there, but I think Cody is gonna definitely have a lot to say about Travis Scott and John Cena as time progresses. But this is John Cena's last year, and this was his last WrestleMania main event, and he made the best of it. Crazy enough, he made the best of it. Really can't complain about that. But only time will tell. We'll have to wait and see as we move into the Raw after WrestleMania tonight on Netflix. But with that being said, that will do it for this week's episode of WWE's Biggest Issue. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue in the future, then make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.